When the homeless man asked AOC for just $1 outside the Capitol, she had no idea that simple act of kindness would change both their lives forever and inspire a movement across America. The morning sun cast long shadows across the marble steps of the U.S. Capitol as Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez climbed with her usual brisk pace. Her navy blazer pressed sharp, amendment proposals tucked under her arm, mind already racing through the day's hearings and press conferences. She almost missed him entirely. Vincent sat on the bottom step, gray beard neatly trimmed despite his worn clothes. His flannel shirt had seen too many washings, boots walked more miles than they were meant to. In his hands a small cardboard sign, "Veteran, anything helps." But what AOC didn't know about Vincent was that he'd been watching her for weeks. From his usual spot near the coffee cart, he'd observed her interactions with constituents, the way she stopped to listen when others rushed past. Vincent had been invisible for so long that he'd become an expert at reading people, and what he saw in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was something he hadn't seen in a politician before. She actually cared. Vincent's story was written in the lines around his eyes, in the careful way he moved his left shoulder, in the dog tag still under his shirt. 22 years in the army, 3 tours in Afghanistan, a Bronze Star he'd never discuss. His wife Sarah had tried to hold things together when he came back different, quieter, carrying invisible weight. But depression stole everything. The house, the marriage, hope itself. That was 4 years ago. 4 years of being looked through instead of looked at, discovering that a uniform commands respect right up until you take it off for the last time. The sound of heels clicking against marble grew closer. Vincent looked up just as AOC reached his step. Their eyes met, not the quick glance most offered before looking away, but actual eye contact. She slowed, then stopped. "Good morning," she said, her voice carrying none of the practiced warmth of political speak, just genuine. Vincent blinked, surprised. "Morning, ma'am. What's your name?" "Vincent. Vincent Torres." "Hi, Vincent. I'm Alexandria." She studied his face with the same intensity she brought to policy briefings. "What do you need today?" "Really need?" The question hit him like a physical thing. Not how much, or what's your story, but what do you need? Vincent's throat tightened. He thought about the $12 in his pocket that had to last 6 days, the shelter bed he'd lost for being 15 minutes late. Honestly, his voice cracked. Just $1 would help. Maybe get some coffee, sit somewhere warm. But what AOC said next changed everything. "Vincent," she said, crouching so they were eye level, "I think we can do better than $1. Vincent studied her face, looking for the catch, the performance, but all he saw was a young woman treating him like he mattered. "I don't need charity," he said quietly, military pride flaring. AOC smiled, warm and real. "Good, because I'm not offering charity. I'm offering breakfast and conversation. There's a place 2 blocks from here, and I was thinking of skipping my morning meeting anyway. People might see." Vincent worried. "People seeing me have breakfast with a veteran. I can think of worse things for my reputation." At Rosie's Diner, they slid into a corner booth. Vincent still stunned by the surreal situation. AOC ordered coffee, then turned her full attention to him. "Tell me about your service if you want to." But the most powerful moment was yet to come. Something about AOC's genuine interest made Vincent open up in ways he hadn't in years. He told her about enlisting at 19, the pride of wearing the uniform, brothers who became closer than family. The IED outside Kandahar in 2018 that destroyed his shoulder and earned him a Purple Heart he didn't remember getting. But more than that, he told her about coming home, about Sarah trying to understand but unable to bridge the gap between who he'd been and who he'd become, about nightmares medication couldn't touch, loud noises that made him reach for weapons that weren't there. The hardest part, Vincent said, stirring his 3rd cup of coffee, wasn't losing the house or even Sarah leaving. It was losing the sense that I had something to contribute. In the army I had purpose. Out here I'm just another problem people don't want to look at. AOC leaned forward, voice firm but gentle. "Vincent, you're not a problem. You're a person who served his country and came home to a system that failed you. That's not your fault, and it's not okay." She paused. "If you could do anything, if all barriers were removed, what would you want to do?" Vincent laughed, but it wasn't bitter. "You're going to think it's stupid. Try me. I want to build things. Before enlisting, I studied engineering, always loved figuring out how things work. In the army, I got good at logistics, making sure people had what they needed. I miss solving problems, making something from nothing." AOC was quiet, wheels turning. "What if I told you I know people who might be interested in those skills?" Vincent shook his head. Ma'am, I haven't worked in 4 years. Most employers don't look past the homeless thing. What if they didn't have to know about that until after they knew your skills? The conversation that followed would change both their lives in ways neither could imagine. AOC pulled out her phone. There's an organization called Veterans Build. They connect former military with construction projects, focusing on affordable housing. The guy who runs it, Miguel Santos, is a Marine veteran who understands transition challenges. Hope fluttered in Vincent's chest. They provide training, certification, support systems. 6 months, with housing during the program. Housing, Vincent whispered. Private apartments. The idea is removing barriers so people can focus on getting back on their feet. Vincent sat back, overwhelmed. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. AOC met his eyes. Vincent, you asked for $1. You could have asked for 20, 50, 100, but you asked for $1 because that's all you thought you deserved. The system taught you to make yourself small, but I know something you might have forgotten. What's that? You're worth more than $1. You always have been. Tears threatened, but for the first time in years, they weren't tears of despair. What do I have to do? AOC smiled, writing a number on her business card. Call Miguel, tell him Alexandria sent you, and tell him your whole story. Don't hide the hard parts. The program is designed for people who've been through hard parts. I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me yet. Thank me when you're building something that matters. When it came time to leave, AOC pulled out a $20 bill. This isn't charity. This is a reminder that you're worth more than $1. Don't spend it. Keep it. When you get your first paycheck, give this to someone else who needs to remember their worth. Vincent took the bill, throat too tight to speak. Promise me, AOC said gently. I promise. That afternoon, Vincent called Miguel Santos, but what happened next would shock even AOC. The call lasted 47 minutes. Miguel's voice was warm but no nonsense, listening without judgment. Alexandria's got good instincts. She sent me 3 people this year, all working now. One just got promoted to site supervisor. The interview the next day went beyond Vincent's hopes. Miguel's office walls displayed photos of completed projects, housing developments, community centers, playgrounds built by graduates. The goal isn't just a job, Miguel explained. It's a career. Most graduates advance. Some start companies. Vincent started the following Monday. The apartment felt like a palace after years of shelters. That evening, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Vincent, it's Alexandria. Miguel told me you're starting tomorrow. I'm proud of you. You've got this. AOC. He stared at the message. She'd followed up, cared enough to check his progress. He typed back, "Thank you for believing in me before I believed in myself." Her response came quickly. "You're exactly where you're supposed to be." The first day was overwhelming but energizing. The job site was an affordable housing development, Veterans Build collaborating with DC Housing Authority. Vincent found himself drawn to the electrical crew, the intricate work building on Army skills. 3 weeks in, Vincent was finding his rhythm. Regular meals and sleep were restoring his health, but more importantly, daily progress on measurable tasks was rebuilding his confidence. It was during his 4th week that everything changed again. His phone rang with an unfamiliar number. "Vincent Torres? Speaking. This is Sarah. Sarah Torres, your ex-wife." Vincent's hand tightened. He hadn't heard Sarah's voice in 3 years. "I saw the news story about you and the congresswoman, the program." "Vincent, I had no idea you were—" "I'm clean, Sarah. 4 months now. Job training program, my own place. I'm getting better." Her voice was thick with emotion. "I'm so glad. I wanted to call so many times." They talked for 47 minutes, filling gaps from years apart. Sarah had finished nursing school, worked at Johns Hopkins. She asked careful questions about his journey. "There's something else," she said. "Remember how we talked about having kids?" Vincent's throat tightened. They'd tried for 3 years before everything fell apart. "I never stopped wanting that, but never with anyone else." "Vincent, if you're really back." The possibility hung between them, fragile and wonderful. "I need time to finish this program, get established." "But Sarah, I never stopped loving you." "I never stopped either." The 6th month flew by in intensive training and job interviews. Miguel called him with news he'd hoped for, but hardly dared expect. "Blackstone Construction wants to hire you. Full-time, $58,000, benefits, advancement track, project management training. You'd be overseeing job sites." Vincent stared at the offer letter through tears he didn't hide. "I need to make a phone call." Sarah answered immediately. "Vincent, I got the job. Full-time, good salary, management track." "Sarah, I got it. "Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. I'm ready, Sarah. Ready to try again if you are." "Yes, yes, I'm ready too." Before leaving transitional housing, Vincent had one final task. He returned to the Capitol steps, found the spot where everything changed, and removed AOC's $20 bill from his wallet. A young woman sat on a nearby bench, cardboard sign reading "Anything helps." Vincent approached carefully. "I'm not a cop or social services. I wanted to give you this and tell you that you're worth more than whatever you're going through." She stared at the money, then his face. "Why?" "Because 6 months ago, I was exactly where you are. Someone saw me as a person instead of a problem. When you're back on your feet, pass this to someone else who needs to remember their worth." 1 year later, Vincent Torres stood in a new housing complex lobby, watching families move into apartments he'd helped build. His wedding ring caught light as he made notes, planning the final walkthrough. Sarah was 8 weeks pregnant. They'd bought a house with a workshop where Vincent designed community projects in his spare time. His phone buzzed. Saw the news story about the Alexandria project. "So proud of what you've built, Vincent. How does it feel to be worth more than $1?" Vincent smiled as he typed, "Like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Thank you for helping me remember who I was." "You did the remembering. I just bought breakfast." Outside, a young man sat with a cardboard sign. Vincent recognized the look, the careful distance from the world. Without hesitation, he walked outside. "Good morning. What's your name?" The cycle of compassion continued, one person at a time, $1 at a time, one chance at a time.